Hi everyone, you're listening to Achieve Balance with Dr. Arminta, a show brought to you weekly to help you be healthier, happier, and more vitalistic next year than you are this year. You can find us at achievebalancechriropractic.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as well. We are looking forward to helping you be healthier in your future. Thanks for listening. Now let's start the show. Hey guys, it's Dr. Arminta here with Achieve Balance Podcast, and I have with me today Racheal Wittenberger. She is my favorite PT, and she's not just your average PT. So, she is the owner of Mindful Movement here in Columbia, Missouri. She is one of the most well-knowledge individuals I know about body movement, overall health, wellness, nutrition, you name it. This girl's got some good knowledge about it. But we're going to talk about what she is truly passionate about today, and that is a lot to do with the pelvis, the sacred bone, the sacrum, which she's going to get into. And how can she teach you how to live healthier and more vitalistic for a long, long time. So welcome, Racheal. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you very much. That was a very nice introduction.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. So tell us about you. What got you into what you do, why you do it, and then we'll move on to talk about your business a little bit and some of your passion.
Okay, well, this work kind of found me. I did not go looking for it. I actually went into college as an American Lit major. And the first aha moment happened when one of my friends on my floor in my dorm, who I would run with, and we exercised together and stuff, and she said, "Have you ever thought about physical therapy?" And I said, "I don't even know what that is." So, but it got in my head, and so I called the PT school and set up an appointment with an advisor. Her name is Karen Wingert, and she is still here, and I love her dearly. And she told me a little bit about it, and in her little cubicle that day, major light bulb went off in my head and just said, "This is what you need to do." And so that started it, and I have never looked back.
Awesome. It's so funny how our purpose finds us. We talk a lot about that in the chiropractic profession as a whole. Is like, I didn't find chiropractic came and found me. And so that's super powerful. So tell us about Mindful Movement and what you guys do over there.
So right now it's me only over there, and I kind of specialize in biomechanics, and I specifically always start with mechanics of the pelvis, and I look at how everything is moving at the joint level, but then I look at muscle balance, how the brain is using the body to move, and the different patterns that it wants to go to naturally, and also look at muscle imbalances and address those.
Nice. So tell us about why you always started the pelvis. What is that passion? What's that draw to that? And what are some things that you can know that the world needs to know that so they can help themselves be healthier?
Yeah, so that's really something that has just developed over 19 years of doing this. I've just found in touching this many people that I don't care if your ear hurts or your big toe hurts, 99.9% of the time, there's something that's not moving correctly at the pelvis. And because it's at the center of our skeletal system, and because the very central bone, the sacrum, is meant to balance everything that our trunk does, if that isn't moving correctly, then everything below in the chain compensates, and everything above in the chain eventually also compensates. And it's not an immediate thing. But in the physical therapy world, people don't come to me immediately. Like, they can come to you immediately when they have pain. They have to go through other people first, and the pain has been there for a little while, or the dysfunction has been there for a little while. And a lot of times they've seen people and they've gotten a little bit better, and they've just kind of plateaued. And almost always I find it's because there's something at the pelvis that just hasn't been cleared out correctly. And therefore there's still just a little bit of compensation somewhere. For example, if there's a little bit of a rotation in the pelvis, the body has a natural way of lengthening a leg that has become functionally shorter by the heel bone sort of turning in or inverting. And that will strain the outside calf muscles. It'll shorten the inside calf muscles. And if people like to run or do anything with high impact or even walk long distances, a lot of times they'll feel the discomfort and their symptoms first in the knee or in the ankle or in the hip. And the source of the problem is almost never where you feel the pain.
Oh, that's so true.
Yes.
It is so true. And I think that pain is a really poor measurement of what truly is actually happening with the person, whether it be neurologically, whether it be compensationally, and how it shows up is why it's important to evaluate the person as a whole and not just as their symptom. And I think that that's where we're missing the buck in, let's air quote, healthcare today, is that they're addressing symptoms instead of addressing why is the body adapting or maladapting in the way that it is. And if you can get down to the source, which is what's so cool about what you do, is you can really find what the problem actually is and then restore the proper function and thus putting a person back into an optimal state.
Absolutely. And it is, traditional healthcare model is extremely frustrating in that way. And, and I think that's why it's so important that we all work together and realize what our strengths are and recruit other practitioners to do the things that we're not skilled to do, or, it's just not our focus of practice. Because traditional medicine is really good at some things that they do, and it's a really important piece of it. But in medical school right now, they're not taught about nutrition, and to my knowledge, and
they're not. It's all very systematized. They're
yes.
all taught the same thing across the board, and it's very much in basis of how to address a problem. It's
how to get rid of the current symptom.
Correct.
Yes,
Correct.
And the big thing that's like on the top of my mind right now, because I'm studying nutrition so much, is this whole huge $7.5 billion industry of acid blockers. And to me, the sacrum is to the musculoskeletal system as the gut is to the rest of our system, our insides.
Oh my gosh, our gut.
It's the same.
They're finding so much relationship to the gut. 80% of the immune system resides in the gut. Most of the serotonin in your entire body is in the gut. If you're having problems with with depression, how's your gut?
McDonald's equals Zantac equals Prozac. That is what's taught is what I'm learning right now, and it makes so much sense on the chemical level. And why do we just try to get rid of the symptom with something that's going to cause other symptoms and not trace it back? Because it's really a simple system. It's a simple system. There's a lot of, I understand there's a lot of different inputs, and we are very complicated beings that we don't know everything about yet. I understand that part of it. But the mechanisms are pretty simple. And just like in the musculoskeletal system, the sacrum balances us. It's a very simple mechanical model. And if you treat the source of that and then start incorporating the neurological aspect with movement patterns and everything else, you're going to get improvements from the source. So it's inside out health and long-term health. And I don't want your back pain to go away right now. I want your back pain to go away forever. And I want to give you the tools you need to manage it.
Right.
Because I can help you help yourself. I can't fix you.
And all of those things revolve into that inside out mentality, and it's such a refreshing thing. Every time we get together, it's like we get this really awesome conversation that takes place. And because the understanding of the innate ability for the body to heal on its own if given the right environment.
Right.
And it's just that over the last 100 years, we have de-evolved and created a very toxic environment that is not suitable for us to thrive in. And if we get to the root cause of the issue, and you have to incorporate all of it. You can't just have good functional movement. Absolutely. You can't just have good chiropractic care. You can't just have good nutrition. You have to have all of that. And it takes a journey to do it on. It's not this, I've arrived at this place.
It's constant.
It's consistency. And consistency is really where we win. No, nobody's going to be perfect on their nutrition all the time. No, nobody's going to be perfect on their movement patterns all the time. It's just part of how our body heals. And I'm really excited that you're doing the functional nutrition courses, because I think that is a huge missing link, specifically here in Columbia,
sure.
Missouri.
Missouri that there's not enough people that know enough about it, how to train people on how to incorporate proper nutrition and how to reverse gut healing, leaky gut, which is a precursor for almost all autoimmune diseases out there.
Right.
And
it's an epidemic.
Oh my gosh. There is no doubt that it is an epidemic. Absolutely. And this is why this podcast is so critical. This is why your practice is so critical. My practice is so critical. Places like CSC are so critical.
Absolutely.
Because it has to come down to the individual's own accountability for their own health with people that are knowledgeable and that can hold people accountable to the choices and the goals that they're setting for themselves.
That's exactly right. And it takes a village, because changing your lifestyle, I mean, our culture is not set up to nurture a healthy lifestyle. I mean, I'm sure desk jobs keep us in business, Absolutely. And there's so many things that go along with that. But our, work until you drop or else you're not a productive person mentality, all of that is putting you, and you're sympathetic, and that's a huge part of everything too. And everything, what's frustrating for both of us, I know, is that it's so preventable. But for people like us who are in the industry and who are seeking health and wellness and knowledge about health and wellness, it's easier because we know what it feels like to feel good. And once you feel good, you don't want to feel bad again. Mm-hmm. But we have a world walking around out there who has forgotten what it feels like to feel good. And so getting the motivation to really get started on that right path, it truly takes a village, because it might just be that one thing you hear from this person over here, or, this person over here on your team, and that's the thing that just sparks the fire in you to start making the change, the small change you need to make.
Right, because you can't do this in a 180 direction. If you do it in a 180 direction, our brain is not set up for the capacity of that kind of change. Mm-hmm. It's small little improvements, 1 or 2 things. Make that a habit. Next 2 or 3 things, make those a habit and start to instill that into your world. And it does take a village. There is no doubt. Like you think about it, if you are ill, and our traditional model is we go to our primary care physician, and then you have something going on with hormonally, so you go to your endocrinologist, and then you have something going on in your gut, so you go to your gastroenterologist, and you have a team for your sickness care. They're called specialists, and that's how we phrase it. Mm-hmm. How about the people of the team that you need for wellness, for true wellness? And I'm not talking about just not having symptoms, because that is a non-legitimate way of assessing an overall person's health.
Right.
How can you get an individual to actually thrive, mm-hmm. both physically, chemically, emotionally, mm-hmm. all of it, all wrapped up into one. And guys, I know that if you are just starting your health journey here, that this looks like a huge, like Mount Everest to right. climb. Please don't worry about the peak. Start in the foothills. Drink more water. Move your body. Get some sleep. Little simple changes. And I know Rachael, she teaches this consistently to the people that she serves in her practice, is that you have to do all of those things, because otherwise the biomechanical chain, it won't hold up because the inflammation. And so everything is round robin into it. And we are here to help. And that's why your practice exists. That's definitely why our practice exists. There's so many, and there's amazing individuals. We've interviewed Erin Brown with Como Wellness Conference and what she's doing. We have a very large wellness community in this area. I just don't think a lot of people know about it.
I agree. We are very lucky here. And I think one of our primary roles, when you start climbing this mountain, the first thing that you can do that is very attainable is to increase your awareness and to start seeking it. Because if you start seeking it and you start opening up to it, it will start coming to you. And when you increase your awareness, then you increase your motivation. And then if you have that 1 or 2 things that you're focusing on, and you incorporate it into your lifestyle to where it becomes like brushing your teeth, and you start noticing the changes, then you're like, okay, what else can I learn and what else can I do to make this even better? Because when you start getting mental clarity and you start getting energy, it will change your entire life. Your emotional stability improves, your relationships improve, you're happy, like you have the ability to enjoy life and to make it through difficult things. You have some reserve. Instead of constantly being in a survival mode, you start thriving, and it is such a beautiful thing.
I could not agree more. I think that one of the bigger things that we have here in Columbia is this amazing, like almost, it's like, I feel like it's not talked about, but we all know each other and we're all on the same page, and we're really starting to come together as a tribe. I've noticed over the last couple of years, and of seeing this awareness of, oh, there might be other options, and not that please understand that neither Rachael nor myself are negating our traditional healthcare model, because it does serve its purpose. It's just more in terms of addressing symptoms instead of addressing root causes of problems. And I think that if we can get to the point where we can do root cause and get to the actual true issue that's going on at hand, and then support the system,
right,
then the system can do what the system needs to do.
And we need the knowledge of physicians. And we are really fortunate here too, because we have some physicians who are very open-minded and willing to work with us and understand the bigger picture of wellness. And everybody wins that way. Right. Everybody wins.
Very much so. So tell us a little bit more about, we talked about the sacred bone of the sacrum, which which is why it's called the sacrum. And I want to know what your background knowledge is about that, because I know that that's where your biomechanical, where your start of your passion, it kind of came, and then your passions grow once you get, once you know about above, down, inside out health. It's powerful.
For sure. Well, it's really just something that evolved. I wanted to do manual therapy, hands-on type of practice. When I got out of school, and one of my coworkers, out of my first job, did manual therapy, and she got good results and just knew anatomy so well. And so that kind of got me on the path. And then as I took some more classes, I went to Michigan State University through their osteopathic manual medicine continuing education program. I learned more about it, and it's just in treating patients over the years, again, it was something that just found me. I didn't just say, oh, I just love the sacrum. As I was evaluating everybody, it was just like, are you serious? Am I just looking at everybody exactly the same? Everybody has an issue here. Is it just because I'm looking to find that? Or is this really something that's common, kind of a common denominator? And I just study the mechanics really well, and to the point where I could now, when somebody comes in with something, I can be like, do you happen to, do this certain movement, or did you turn your body and this way and reach down and pick something up, because that's exactly biomechanically how you're stuck. And 9 times out of 10, I can guess what they did, because I've just become so tuned into the mechanics of the pelvis and of the sacrum, and in trying to solve people's problems, it just always comes up. So.
And do you notice, this is just and I have no idea how you're going to answer this question, but I hope that I'm going in the right direction here. Do you notice that when people have instability of their sacrum, that they are noticing other health complications? And it can be things from neurological issues to immune system issues to digestive issues to heart issues.
100%.
Okay.
100% connection.
So an interesting thing about this and how that work and how the biomechanical structure and what we do at the office is that's where the thecal sac ends. And so the thecal sac is the outer protective layer around the spinal cord, and if it has tension on it, so if there is an instability there and that sacrum is torqued or it's rotated or it's pulled on or it's unbalanced in any way, it's going to put strain onto the thecal sac, which will automatically put a person into a sympathetic mode, which will inhibit their body from actually healing and adapting, which is why your gut can't heal if you stay sympathetic dominant. Your heart can't heal if you stay sympathetic dominant. It's just your body just has such a harder time of coming into the ability to do that. So I think that's really an interesting phenomenon.
the meningeal connection straight up to the falx cerebri and the cerebellum tentori. I mean,
right.
There's I have all kinds of questions now, because in learning about that, I know there's a lot of things that go into our vision that are way beyond my scope and I don't know, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Like, people start losing their vision and their vision changes as they get older, but also people are walking around constantly with chronic pelvic dysfunction, torquing the meninges, and it's changing the pressure in the brain and the ocular nerve. And so I just have to believe that there's a connection.
Well, not only that, is it'll decrease the cerebral spinal fluid flow,
right,
which will decrease the ability for the brain to detoxify.
Yep.
And then we wonder why we have an increase in all of these mental issues and disorders.
Yeah, and balance. I mean, it restricts your cranial movement. I mean, it's just
totally.
It's
all connected.
It's all connected. Yeah.
All connected. Mm-hmm. And so you're in addition to this component, mm-hmm. you're really getting passionate about the nutritional component too. And so you're taking some courses on that right now, which is more of a functional nutrition course.
Yes.
And after you get done with that certification, are you planning on adding that counseling service into your facility at Mindful Movement?
Absolutely. I actually just acquired the space next to me, and in August, Mindful Movement Physical Therapy and Wellness will open. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm building out a Pilates studio, and there's a big area in the back that I'm building out into a kitchen, and I'm going to put a conference table back there, and we're going to have nutrition classes and cooking classes, and it's going to be my education room with whiteboards and projector, and I'll be offering nutrition counseling and along with physical therapy, and I'll have somebody in there that's going to be doing some emotional health, possibly trauma work, massage therapy. So
oh, well, fun, dear, fun.
It's going to be amazing.
That's exciting.
It is super exciting. But when I started taking these classes, it was because I could feel systemic inflammation in people, and I knew that what I was doing on the musculoskeletal level was not going to be enough, and without addressing, I mean, there's so many other things that need to be addressed, but people ask me questions all the time nutritionally that I just don't have. I know a little bit from what I've read, but I just don't have a solid, foundation to give them information from. And the more I read about it, the more I'm like, this needs to be shouted out to the public. This is what's causing
we're killing
neurological diseases, cancer. I mean, it's the source of everything.
It's that and the body's inability to adapt to it because it's so stress-driven, so sympathetic-driven.
Absolutely.
And all of that is just a recipe, and then we wonder why we're getting sick. We're wondering, why our health is failing us. And if you don't go back to what was causing it to begin with, which is, you're talking upwards of a decade to 20 years of bad habits that eventually cause the problem, and you don't understand that the problem that you're having is related to poor habitual choices, which is not individual's fault. Like, people take this huge guilt trip, I noticed when we talk to people about this. Yeah. And you've been trained. You've been taught that way. How did your parents eat? And we wonder why we have this idea of the genetic issue going on, like heart disease. Heart disease is not a genetic issue. It's an epigenetic issue. You were taught how to put yourself in the place where your heart gets compromised, your lipid counts get compromised, and you are more susceptible to having...
And you're more susceptible to it because of 2 generations before you.
Yes!
I mean, there are so many things that are out of our control. Right. And that's why it is so important to control what we can control. Right. Because, you can do everything right, and things can still happen because of just how you're put together. But, why not take control of what you can to maximize the quality of your life?
And once you start to do it, there's really no turning back because you get hungry for it.
It's an addiction almost.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And in a good way, because you're conscious and you're aware, and you have the ability to actually thrive in this world instead of just survive and exist. And I know that both yourself and myself included are sick and tired of seeing sick and tired people. Yep. And that's why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. So, well, thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All of Rachael's information will be in our show notes and ways to communicate with her and contact her. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We will see you on the next show.
Hi guys, Dr. Arminta here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope today's episode brought you information to help you eat better, move better, think better, and take care of the true root of your health issues. You can find us online at achievebalancechiropractic.com/podcasts, and you can find us on social media as well. We look forward to having you here the next episode, and we look forward to helping you create a healthier future tomorrow.